Star Trek Discovery is changing Star Trek. That's fine, every Star Trek series has changed Trek in some way, but the changes in Star Trek Discovery may go deeper than just the look of the Klingons. At the end of the last episode of Discovery, we saw Michael Burnham being sentenced to life in prison by a Federation court-martial. The court-martial was held in an ominous and dark room, making it look more like a Romulan tribunal than Federation court. I have expected Michael Burnham to scream. There are 4 lights. That strange dark feel continued in the start of Sometimes Down is Up. We find Burnham on a prison shuttle being transferred. There is none of the optimistic attitude of Trek here. One of the other passengers was a convict who bragged about killing Andorians. Soon after that, the shuttle's pilot has to do an EVA to try to kill a parasite hanging onto the ship. I guess she's doing this at warp, which doesn't sound possible, but she's dead a few moments later anyway. Her death isn't really mentioned or cared about by anyone, which also isn't very Starfleet. The red shirts might have had a rough time on Star Trek the original series, but you always saw Kirk respond and be upset about his crew dying. This universe is set just a few years before the 5-year mission of Kirk, Spock, and Bones, but it feels a galaxy away. This Federation is at war with the Klingons, but it feels more like it's at war with itself. Without that positive outlook, the show feels more like Battlestar Galactica than Star Trek. I love Battlestar, but I don't watch Trek and expect that kind of universe. We see Rekha Sharma's chief of security Landry mock prisoners. That's not something a Federation officer would do. The only character I got attached to in the first episode was Saru, and luckily he's back as the Discovery's first officer here. This episode also introduces us to Anthony Rapp's Lieutenant Stamets and Mary Wiseman's Cadet Tilly. Both of these characters feel like they have great stories and are really well portrayed by their respective actors. These may be 2 characters I can grab onto and learn to love like in previous Treks. We are also introduced to the Discovery herself and Captain Lorca. Lorca is a mysterious figure who obviously has some dark motives. He's the classic Star Trek evil admiral figure. We find out that the episode's adventures and Burnham ending up on the Discovery is no accident. Lorca wants Burnham on board. Sometimes Down is Up was another episode setting up the story in this universe. It remains to be seen, however, how much that universe is going to have in common with the rest of Star Trek. There's no doubt that Discovery is cool, but is it Trek?